Well, it's halftime here in Provo, sort of a somber mood after the ups and downs. 28-14, Utah State. They did have a ceremony during halftime to honor the great Jim McMahon. Let's take a look.
But it's a great honor to be up on this wall with my fellow teammates, great quarterbacks, great players, and great people.
Jim McMahon's number 9 retired here in Provo. He got his degree, came back, and as he said, lots of teammates were here. Dave Fleming, Mike Bellotti in Provo, and Jim McMahon, really one of the all-time greats in college football history, a program with so much history at quarterback. And the big story from our game, unfortunately, Mike, Taysom Hill, who is a standout for BYU, looked to be a severe, we're guessing left ankle, left leg injury of some sort. We don't have any details yet. They were taking x-rays at halftime, but a huge blow for a great kid and a great player.
By his response on the field, it looked like a very serious ankle injury. The real question is how this team can respond, whether they can pick up the slack. They've got young players, they've got veterans, but somebody, when you have a great player go down, when Bronco came into our meeting the other day, he said, first of all, I'll tell you, we have a good quarterback. We have a great quarterback that can make up for a lot of our deficiencies. He no longer has that quarterback. So other people are going to have to step up. The running backs, the wide receivers, the defense. I have been shocked at the lack of productivity of the rush game in terms of getting Garrettson uncomfortable in the pocket, and the coverage down the field has not helped that any. So they can definitely play better. They're only two scores down, but they've lost the spark guy on offense.
Taysom Hill, almost exactly 2 years ago to the day against this same Utah State team, hurt his knee in garbage time, really, as the game was ending, and that ended his season in early October. And now tonight, here's the play, trying to get away from that safety, and you can see the left leg and particularly the left ankle. He knew it right away, and they had him on the sideline. They carted him off to the locker room to take some x-rays during halftime. But the star, Taysom Hill, is hurt. BYU hurting. They're down, and we'll come back with more at halftime right after this. Welcome back to ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by Jimmy John's. Start of the second half in Provo under the lights at LaVell Edwards Stadium. Utah State big underdogs, up 2 touchdowns, 28-14 over undefeated BYU. The national championship trophy presented by Dr. Pepper here in Provo, and the BYU folks legitimate hopes coming into this game of running the table and maybe as a long shot having a chance to play for that trophy. Dave Fleming, Mike Bellotti here in Provo. Mike, those chances may be slipping away with the 2 touchdown deficit and now without their quarterback.
No question, and they're going to have to play better defense regardless of what happens on offense. They've got to get a better pass rush and certainly better pass coverage. Now they have to find a way with Christian Stewart, a quarterback, to manufacture some offense. So it's a lot of guys have to step up.
Well, right at the end of the half, 2 quick strikes. There was a turnover, BYU. First play after the turnover, that touchdown pass. Then after the Hill injury and a punt, 72 yards to Hunter Sharp. And Utah State, yeah, Darrell Garrettson, he was going crazy, the sophomore quarterback, with his best half of his young career. 28-14 the score, and Utah State gets the ball.
Yeah, that's a difficult thing. You never realize it at the end of the half to say, uh-oh, they get the ball again right now.
Well, 3 touchdown underdogs, up by 2 scores, and really, you know, the Hill injury hangs over everything right now. But that did not impact the first half. It happened right at the end of the half. Maybe it impacted the final drive for BYU, but Utah State thoroughly outplayed BYU in a lot of ways, even while Hill was there.
They did. It'll be interesting to see how the tempo of BYU, if they can sustain it, will even affect Utah State.
Kickoff is into the end zone and a touchback. Well, the first half, I mean, it was a wild one and certainly not going to form. Taysom Hill, 2:43 to go in the half with the leg injury. Darrell Garrettson, 14 of 17 with 3 touchdowns. That ties his career high. Devontae Robinson had never had a touchdown catch before tonight. He's got 2 of them. 4 catches total for Robinson. And the BYU defenders trying to get this crowd going. And Mike, I think the Cougars, they need some of that emotional help from their fans to try to bounce back.
They need some stops on defense, or even better, they need turnovers.
You know, another big story, number 41, Nick Vigil, who had never carried the ball in his college career, will get a carry here to start the third quarter. Bounced away from a tackler, trying to get to the left side, and look at that dive forward. He got 4 yards. There was nothing there. That was all Nick Vigil.
Have we noticed, are they spelling him on defense a little bit? Because he is playing quite a bit on offense, so or he's playing a lot of football tonight.
Well, Vigil will take this next play off. A lot of effort to get those 5 yards. Second down and 5. And the starting tailback, the more conventional tailback, Joe Hill.
We've talked about this 12 personnel group, 2 wide receivers, 2 tight ends. They like this. They feel it gives them their best advantage against BYU's defense.
One of those tight ends in motion. Plenty of time. Garrettson again on target. And the catch by Devontae Robinson.
And right now it seems as if BYU is struggling to read, run, pass with the 12 personnel in the game for Utah State, the 2 tight ends. The move tight end there, they're giving that receiver so much room on the outside. That's an easy throw and catch.
9-yard completion, 15 of 18 for Darryl Garrettson. With Utah State star quarterback Chucky Keaton hurt and out of this game, re-injured at leg injury and knee injury from last year. They're going to flip it to Robinson, and he cuts forward, gets popped hard by Levitt, and he does pop up.
Levitt, we talked about him being a heat-seeking missile, and that's the type of hit that you come to expect from him. I mean, and it's a legal hit, but he's the bigger of the 2, and he had more momentum at that point than the ball carrier.
Wow. So Dallin Levitt, the sophomore safety, after a gain of 4, 270 yards through the air for the Aggies of Utah State. This is a Utah State team that last game went on the road to Arkansas State, and in an overtime game got 14 points on the board.
They struggled offensively, no question. They're having much better success tonight.
Garrettson, the pass complete. Another big hit by Levitt. There is a flag down on the play. They're going to spot very close, but it looks like short of the first down. That time Hunter Sharp with the catch. But I think this one's going against the Aggies. He thinks so too.
Broncos saying
illegal
yes.
formation with 5 men in the backfield on the offense. 5-yard penalty, second down.
Broncos signaling, take that penalty, move them back.
So instead of 3rd and short, 2nd and long, the BYU defense, they have been so stout at times this year, but the one weakness coming in through the air, and Utah State has really exploited that.
No question. They've got a amount of yards that they've given up for an entire game already in the start of the second half.
2nd down and 11 after the penalty. Garrettson, a screen play. Hill hits him in stride. Hill spins through that first tackle attempt and gets to the 40.
Didn't get as much as they wanted. They were hoping to get back to that manageable situation. 3rd and 9 is not that. This allows BYU to come at them in some way, shape, or form. Probably some type of zone blitz. Although they're going to spread them out and make sure if they do come, they got to come from distance so the quarterback can see it.
They are trying to get loud here in Provo. Here comes a blitz. Picked up momentarily. Garrettson, there was a whistle. We couldn't even hear the whistle. A flag before the snap. Nobody heard it. It was so loud.
False start. 74 the offense. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
That left tackle's put in a bind. He saw that guy coming from way outside, and he knows that that's a speed rusher way outside his comfort zone. He's got to take that little step. He just jumped the snap count a little bit.
The left tackle Kevin Wimpy, who's probably their best offensive lineman. Well, now it's 3rd and 14.
Pain to injury. You're right. You're back now where it's going to take a big play to get that first down.
A handoff. And Utah State being pretty conservative. You can sort of understand that. Williams with the carry. How about another update on Taysom Hill with Allison Williams?
The latest from the BYU locker room is that it is a left leg fracture for Taysom Hill, the extent of which they will not reveal at this time. He is in the locker room with doctors and his families. It is the same leg that he injured 2 years ago against Utah State, but it is not his knee, which is good news. But we do not know at this time how long Taysom Hill will be out for.
So terrible news. Thanks for the report, Allison. But the x-rays came back positive. A fracture of some sort, whether that's lower leg or ankle, we don't yet know. But Taysom Hill is out. BYU up against it without their star, down 28-14. Tomorrow, great matchups all across college football. How about in the SEC West on ESPN? First at noon, it's Texas A&M, 6th-ranked team in the country on the road to take on number 12 Mississippi State, and then Les Miles and LSU in Auburn. The 5th-ranked Tigers hosting 7 Eastern on ESPN. Just part of a tremendous day for college football coming up tomorrow. There's so many matchups of the best teams in the country going head-to-head. So the backup second-string quarterback Christian Stewart with the pass completion, and a little bit more on Taysom Hill. Once again, Allison Williams.
Well, in talking today with Holly Rowe, who will be covering that game, she reminded us LSU will be starting true freshman quarterback Brandon Harris, his first start ever. They've been trying to prep for the last 2 weeks to prepare for the noise at Auburn and their SEC schedule going forward.
Well, thank you, Allison. Of course, that referencing that matchup LSU-Auburn. Taysom Hill is out of this game. Allison gave us the report a moment ago where he's got a fractured left leg. No specifics on where the fracture is. But Christian Stewart, as far as we can find, Mike, that was the first pass completion of his career.
2 things for us to watch in this half. What they do offensively. Is there something different for Christian Stewart that this offense will change slightly?
He's not Taysom Hill in the open field, that's for sure.
And then the energy of the players on offense. Each one of them, all 11 on the field, have to take up the slack for losing Taysom Hill. They have to play better. They have to demand more of each other.
And that's no knock on Stewart, who's a senior, junior college transfer. There's nobody who's like Taysom Hill at the quarterback spot in the open field in the country. 2nd and 11. Back to pass. And he delivers a good ball to Matthews, who spins away from the tackle. Mitch Matthews to the 40 and out of bounds there. So maybe the Cougars can get perked up a little bit. That was a nice pass.
We talked about Matthews being a rangy guy, 6'6", not the fastest, but he's actually he's got some sneaky moves. He avoided the tackle that time, does a nice job, and he's a big target down the field.
Well, Christian Stewart 2 for 2 his first couple passes in a BYU uniform. It's been lonely as Taysom Hill's backup. Handoff this time, right side running. That is Algie Brown, who's a talented sophomore. His first carry of the game, 3 yards.
You know, one of the things we talked about too, if you're going to attack Utah State, you probably should do it through the air. They're one of the best teams against the run in the nation.
2nd and 7. Christian Stewart, a play fake, pressured, but gets it away. Matthews too far. Might have gotten tangled up with the defender there. He did ultimately have a step. That was Daniel Gray with the coverage.
Out and up double move. He was coming open. That ball was thrown just a little bit too far to the outside. Probably, again, Christian Stewart a little bit excited maybe about his chance. I think he's open. I got to throw this. Put a little bit too much on it.
So that was an opportunity for a big play. Instead, it's 3rd and 7. 4 receivers in the formation for the Cougars. Pressure right up the middle. And a little wide receiver screen. Nice move. Leslie across midfield. Cuts it right to the 30. Still going down to the 20-yard line. Jordan Leslie.
Great call by the BYU offensive staff. They got him in a blitz. Great move right there to avoid the would-be tackler and get down the field. Jordan Leslie says, hey, I'll take up some slack.
Threw it a couple yards. He went 37 all told down to the Utah State 20. BYU down a couple touchdowns, but moving the ball with their backup in the game. Stewart dancing around. Stewart going to run, and he goes into a slide. And here come 2 different flags, and that'll be against the Aggies.
Yeah, when you slide and become somewhat a defenseless player, You cannot hit him, and you certainly can't hit him with your helmet. I don't know what this call is going to be, but it's certainly going to be probably the 15-yard variety.
That is number 5, the linebacker LT
Personal
Filiaga.
foul, number 91 of the defense. The penalty is half the distance to the goal. First down.
Well, that ends up being against Siwa Taufa. Well, they both came in and put the hit on. Really, you could have called it on either one.
Actually, I thought, yeah, they actually hit each other, but the fact that they led with their helmet, I think, is what got them in trouble.
First and goal, BYU. Couple of running backs with Stewart. And he's going to throw. Ball was tipped, and then it's intercepted. On the deflection, picked off. Torrey Green, the linebacker, in the right place at the right time. And BYU on the doorstep turns it over.
Actually, a very good throw by Stewart. Let's see if it gets tipped at all. Yeah, it was tipped, which again changes the trajectory. Bounced off the would-be receiver, and great pursuit by the defense. That's the tip drill you practice every day.
John Taylor, the defensive lineman for Utah State, got the tip. And Jordan Leslie, he'll be frustrated. To me, it's hard to blame him once the ball gets tipped.
Yeah,
that's a tough play for a receiver.
When the trajectory of the ball changes and you're already starting to know where you're going to catch it and then sneak a peek at the DB to make the move, that's really difficult.
Second turnover for BYU. Terrible field position for the Aggies. Vigil in the game at running back. And a handoff to Nick Vigil, trying to get to that left side, and he just barely makes it out of the end zone. Jordan Johnson, the cornerback, with the tackle.
You know, I tell you what, it is bad field position, but they're very happy they got the ball.
Yeah.
So they're not going to worry about that. They're turning away a would-be touchdown, and they get the ball back with a chance. But you're right, you got to be careful down here. They're only at the 1-yard line, so if you take the ball off the line of scrimmage very far, you got to watch out for penetration by the BYU defense.
A chance for the Cougars defense to make a big play. From the 1. Handoff and hit right at the goal line. I think they'll spot him outside the end zone. It's not going to be a safety. He maybe lost a half a yard. Lawan Hutt was just hammered.
They came with a great penetration by BYU. Great pursuit. You can see him definitely got outside the end zone, but just barely. Nice job. And they're going to come. I wouldn't be surprised to see them throw the ball right here. Just take a shot on the outside. See if you can get free coverage, off coverage. If you get tight coverage, you're going to throw it deep. Off coverage, you're going to try and get the first down.
Garrettson, handoff, Vigil, and not much breathing room there. Maybe got a yard.
I'll tell you what, this is a problem now for the punter, because now you're much closer than you normally are. You got to watch out for the end line. You're much closer to the rush lane, so I would not be surprised at all to see BYU come after this punt. Either way, they're going to get great field position as long as they don't rough the punter.
That's Jaron Bentrude, the senior punter, right up against it. So the snap has to be good. There can't be a bobble, and you got to get rid of the ball very quickly. From right outside the goal line. And he gets the punt off. A high, short kick, and returnable. Already in Aggies territory. A cutback and a trip up as Devon Blackman, I think he saw a big return set up there. What a special teams tackle for Utah State. But BYU, good field position when we come back.
Welcome back to Provo. BYU trailing Utah State 28-14 here in the third quarter, and towards the end of that first half, the Cougars losing their starting quarterback, their potential Heisman candidate in Taysom Hill, out now with a left leg fracture. We do not know the extent of the injury, but he of course will not be returning tonight. So the question going forward, how will this BYU team respond to Taysom Hill's injury? You can go two ways. You can be down, or you can use it to motivate yourself. And And that's what's going on throughout this game. This is the loudest, the most verbal, the most energetic I have seen the BYU sideline. They were flat in that first half, but they have tried to use this injury as motivation. They are more alive than they have been all game, despite being down 14 points, guys.
All right, thanks, Allison. I think you like to hear that, because an injury like that can have such a devastating effect to a team where, I mean, Taysom Hill, the unquestioned, not just star, but leader of this football program. Jamal Williams gets to the outside. And BYU, they are moving the ball without Hill inside the 25, down to the 24.
They're playing with great energy right now. They're being efficient and effective. Tip ball is all that separated them from some points, certainly on the last drive.
Christian Stewart, who had never completed a pass before tonight, has looked pretty solid. Straight ahead run, and Utah State read that one well. Williams just nowhere to go.
And it's difficult. I'm going to say it one more time. If you're going to run the ball against Utah State, that's the best thing that they do, is defend the run. So you have to mix it up and keep them off balance.
We'll see if Stewart is able to go as quick tempo as Hill. Taysom Hill, the master at that very fast tempo BYU offense. Stewart from the shotgun hits Williams out of the backfield, and Nick Vigil hits him.
Double duty, and boy, is he a player on both sides of the ball. But you're looking now at 3rd and 9, and obvious passes. You want to stay out of obvious pass. You want to throw on 1st down when it's an either or down.
A star kind of performance on both sides of the ball from the sophomore Nick Vigil. 3rd and 9. Stewart, the short drop with time, now gets rid of it, and it is tipped up and incomplete, intended for Howe. Good coverage there from Utah State, and Devin Centers, their safety.
Is this field goal range, or are they going to go for it?
It looks to me like the field goal unit is coming out.
You need points at this point in time. I think you need to stem the tide a little bit, get points on the board. Not to say they wouldn't fake this, because I think when you're at home and you're behind to the underdog, you'll try a lot of things.
Well, you see 5 of 6, but this would be the longest of the year for Sampson. 41-yard attempt. The hold, the kick is on its way, and it is good. Right down the middle for Trevor Sampson. So that's what you're talking about. Get some points on the board. Bronco Mendenhall happy about it. Still trailing, though, 28-17.
ESPN College Football Primetime is brought to you by Dr. Pepper, always one of a kind, and AT&T, mobilizing your world.
Well, it is a tradition here in Provo. Late night, final walkthrough for the BYU players. The students show up, the players grab some pizzas, and make some fans of those students. We're handing out the pies for the kids who greet their players coming in for the walkthrough. 28-17. This is certainly not what BYU envisioned last night thinking about this game, but now without their star quarterback Taysom Hill, a left leg fracture. There is his backup, and really his first real game action of his career. Christian Stewart has done some nice things. A field goal makes it a 28-17 Aggies lead.
Throws the ball well and put points on the board. There's not much more you can ask right now.
Kickoff and returnable this time. Kennedy Williams to the 20, and Williams hit at about the 23 and driven backwards. Ball came out. I don't think they ruled that a fumble, did they?
I think they ruled his forward progress had stopped.
I thought so. The officials not given real clear signals there, but that was a kick return down at about the 23.
Forward progress. 1st down.
So Utah State gets the ball back. Every week on Friday night, we use the hashtag Show Me Something. And what we're looking for, something of Saturday's college football action. Mike, what's your Show Me Something this week?
My Show Me Something is the Florida State offensive line. They're not running the ball very well. They're 100th in the nation running. They got to get going.
A unit, a player, a team that we need to see something from in the upcoming weekend of college football. Hand off to Hill on the first play, and he got to the edge and nearly got to the first down and hurdled over the bench. This is what you're talking about, Mike.
Yeah, because I'll tell you what, they were one of the best teams running the ball in the nation, and by virtue of that, they were one of the best teams defending the run. This year, they're not good at either, and I really think they will jump out this week against Wake Forest, but I'm challenging that offensive line. Show me something.
You want to be the #1 team in the country, you got to play better up front than they have.
It helps you be a tougher football team overall.
And you can use the hashtag and share show me something with us, and if we get some good responses, we will show those on the air as we go along. Straight ahead running for Joe Hill, first down.
That's showing me something too. They're running right at the teeth of the BYU defense and getting ahead, and they've got to get first downs. What they want to do now, they've got a lead. They want to pad that lead, but they would like to take time off the clock. As we talked about, you know, they're not usually a huddle team. They're sort of a muddle huddle, but they always are letting that clock run. They don't always snap it in a very much of a hurry.
Well, there's no question that Darryl Garrettson has shown us something here tonight. The sophomore quarterback, number 10, in place of the Aggie star Chucky Keaton. Play clock starting to wind down, so now they have to hustle. Down to 2. They get the snap off and a play fake. Garrettson looking deep right side. He's got a man again, and another perfect delivery to Hunter Sharp, who drags the defensive back inside the 10. Darryl Garrettson sort of limping his way down the field. 56 yards for Hunter Sharp.
Great double move set up by the play action fake in the backfield. Watch the corner bite on the out move. Goes right by him, loses his shoe. That's one of his problems. But great catch, great throw. And again, all because right there, kicked or kneed or something there. Cramp maybe. Hadn't played this much lately.
Yeah, maybe a cramp for Garrettson. How pretty have his deep throws been in this game?
He's had time to step into those throws, which makes a huge difference.
Hill with the carry inside the 10 on 1st and goal. Not much there. Well, look, the performance of BYU and the injury to Taysom Hill, those are surprising things. The Aggies offense has been the big surprise in this game.
You know, it hasn't been as big a surprise, though, because the BYU coaches were concerned about their pass defense coming out of that last game, even through the bye week going into this game.
But the Aggies, by the numbers, have been one of the worst offensive teams in the country. They're playing on the road against BYU and lighting it up. That pass incomplete, and a flag. That's a hit on the quarterback. Well, that's going to be a hit against BYU.
And Garrettson very intelligently throwing the ball away. He didn't really see anybody. He's just going to toss it down the field.
Personal foul, roughing the passer on the defense. The penalty is half the distance to the goal. First down.
You know, the rusher doesn't know that he's throwing the ball away. He maybe think I'm disrupting what could be a potential touchdown pass. And we've talked about the fact it doesn't matter if the ball's catchable or anything like that. Coach Mendenhall encourages physical, aggressive play. They're one of the most penalized teams in the nation. They've got to be very careful from now on.
Instead of 3rd and goal, it's 1st and goal inside the 5. Hill trying to cut it left side and get to that corner, and he doesn't get there. He did get close, though. Gang tackle, and now Dallin Levitt, the big hitting sophomore safety, he's hurting. He's one of their stars on the defensive side of the ball. And he is in a lot of pain.
I think. And yep. Hill has some great acceleration. He's a great stop-start guy. He changed direction there, got all the way outside, almost scored.
Left leg, and look at Levitt toss that helmet away. That's a lot of pain. See if we can spot something. It was there. It was after, basically after the play was over, rolling over, and with his foot sort of pinned underneath him.
Yeah, they fly around, and they talk about he's one of the guys that really is emblematic of what they do on defense. Fly to the ball and great physicality.
One of their leaders, their big hitter in the secondary, and he can hardly put any weight on that left leg. So 2nd and goal. Big Nick Vigil in the game, carries it into the end zone, touchdown. playing running back for the first time in his college career, and he's got a touchdown tonight. It's 34-17.
We'll have to ask him at some point whether scoring a touchdown is more fun than getting a sack. I'm going to guess yes.
The defensive guys, they don't often get to do that. That's his first career touchdown, and what a job by Utah State. I mean, we had no inkling this was coming. He had never carried the ball in his career before tonight, and he's been a big part of their offense. Extra point up and good. 35-17. The big pass play, and then on the ground into the end zone for Nick Vigil. And Big Brother approves of that one. Yeah, Zach, pretty pleased.
He's going over there. Yeah, that's a neat deal. Brothers playing.
Yeah, little brother be happy with that hug. Well, we're talking about all the great college football action tomorrow. How about in the Big Ten? Maybe the game of the year in that conference. Nebraska on the road to take on the Spartans of Michigan State Saturday, 8 Eastern on ABC. Amir Abdullah trying to get it going against that stout Spartans defense. Friday focus. How about earlier today, day before that game? Game day in Oxford, Mississippi for the first time ever. A great scene. It'll be 9 a.m. tomorrow morning.
2 teams undefeated in the state of Mississippi. First time since 1958. Something's got to give.
Yeah, Hugh Freeze happy with where his program is. Chance for a huge win against Alabama. You could say the exact same thing for Mississippi State in their matchup with a very good Texas A&M team. Late night Friday here in Provo, and a shocking night for BYU, undefeated, 18th ranked in the country, and Utah State is just taking it to them. Short kickoff and across the 20 out to the 26-yard line. Paul Lasike with the return. Well, they've already lost Taysom Hill. Now Levitt, who really looks hurt, headed back to the locker room himself.
You know, I think BYU was playing with great energy, but the big play, giving up the big play, sucks a lot of that energy right out of you.
I think the cramps are still an issue for the quarterback, Darryl Garrettson. Meanwhile, Christian Stewart, the backup, in place of Hill. And he'll throw right sideline and incomplete, out of bounds. Jordan Leslie was there, and he caught it, but out of bounds.
Nice job by the defense. Actually, they were in a good position to play that had it been inbounds. A little bit great throw in terms of the depth down the field, just a little bit too wide.
2nd and 10. Play fake. Quick hitter over the middle, and the ball pops out. Now, I don't know if they'll rule that a catch. They're going to say no. And I didn't think so. Taron Houck got popped, and he's slow to get up.
It's a great job defensively of putting the helmet right on the football, tackling with the shoulder. That's a classic textbook tackle by the defense.
Nice job, Frankie Sotera in the secondary to break that play up. 3rd and 10, BYU. 1:29 to go in the 3rd quarter. Stewart rolling left, down pressured, hit as he throws, and throws it right into coverage. It's intercepted. And the return for Centers to the 30 and pushed out of bounds inside the 30. Everything is going right for Utah State.
And I'm not sure BYU will be able to recover from this type of mistake.
It's been that kind of night for the players, for the fans, for everybody here in Provo. Just disbelief.
Watch the quarterback here as he sets up to throw. He's going to get hit just enough to push that ball off target. He knew it as soon as he said, let me finish this. Because the ball's thrown way inside. The receiver was breaking to the outside. DB had his eyes back to the quarterback, which put him in great position.
Devin Centers with the interception and the return. More good field position for the Aggies. And I don't know if you could say with a full quarter to go, putting the game away, but a chance to come close at least. Now JoJo Natson on that little fly sweep, and nowhere to go other than backwards. Nice play by Fred Warner. Turnovers have been a big factor for the defense of Utah State. Look how many turnovers they have forced after the opener at Tennessee.
They've done a tremendous job, except for that Tennessee game, of taking the ball away, and it's certainly been one of the big advantages tonight.
I mean, 2-2. They have any help from their offense last week, and they're a 3-1 team coming into this game. Tonight, the offense has shown up big time. From the pistol, Hill on 2nd and long. And again, just not a lot of room there. And he got popped out of bounds by Sky Povey.
The problem for BYU right now is, even with stops, even with tackles, they need turnovers. They need to create some field position, either by special teams or by defense, to help the offense. They're down too many scores to just let Utah State run the ball.
3rd and 14 coming up. So this is at least a chance to either force a long field goal try for a team that doesn't kick field goals very well. Utah State, they're acting like the quarter can end, but
I think they're 1 second behind on the play clock.
So they're going to use a timeout, it looks like. So a timeout for the Aggies to try to prevent that penalty, give themselves at least some kind of decent chance to get some points on the board. And Matt Wells and his group can talk it over. Dave Fleming, Mike Bellotti here in Provo. Really, Mike, the story coming in, BYU, can they run the table? Can they go undefeated? Can they get in the playoff picture? Can Taysom Hill be a Heisman candidate? Throw all those stories out with how this game has gone.
Absolutely no question. Taysom Hill going down, I think it certainly hurt them. But even before that, Utah State was moving the ball and playing great defense. With the exception of the first series, BYU did not been able to move the ball, not been able to run the ball like they thought. And credit Utah State, bringing Vigil in on offense seems to have been a genius stroke tonight.
Well, and I still think the rivalry aspect of this game, how much this means on the Utah State side, has been a factor in the way this game has been. I mean, look at the offensive numbers. They have already just blown past their season average. On 3rd down and long, Garrettson pressured and does get rid of it, throws it away. That is the final play of the 3rd quarter. Nick Vigil's been a stud tonight. He and Utah State up big.